Hello and welcome back to Dorm Debate, the podcast where four college students talk about NFL events and news. Now it's only three because Jonathan, the Cowboys fan, is not here. Isn't that weird? Because they just lost and now they're not. Now he's not here. That's just very weird. But that's not the big news today. We're recording this on Wednesday, and the big news: Tyrod Taylor benched for Nathan Peterman for the Bills. The Bills bench Tyrod Taylor at quarterback and bring in a rookie from Pittsburgh. John, do you have a little stats on him about what he did recently?
I don't have stats on Peterman. I know he had a touchdown drive late in the game against the Saints when the Saints were already up like 40-3. So you can't really gauge how good he's going to do. Because
that's a phenomenal quarterback.
Phenomenal.
That's fantastic.
The Saints were up to 37.
Yeah, so it was notable, the only scoring drive of that game. You know, Tyrod played till the fourth quarter.
With Saints third string defensive players.
But overall, I don't know why the Bills would do this. They're sitting in a playoff spot right now. They're sitting in a wild card spot. So I don't know why they would bench Tyrod Taylor, who has 10 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and a 91.4 passer rating, and he's 4th in QB rushing yards. So I don't know, maybe because he just struggled that one game, but I don't know why they would do that.
I mean, just 2 games ago, on Thursday against the Jets, Tyrod had 285 passing yards and 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. So obviously, and they lost that game against the Jets, so obviously he's not the problem. I believe the problem is the defense, but you don't bench your starting quarterback past mid-season, in the playoff race. Your Bills are in the playoff race for the first time in 20 years, and now you decide to bench your starter when he's playing phenomenal. I don't really get it. Caleb, any thoughts?
He wasn't really phenomenal last week, but the Saints were on a 6-game run, and now it's 7 with that win. I mean, my biggest thing, I guess, I mean, of course it's a whole team, but with Tyrod Taylor, they're 5-4, and I guess the Bills management and coach is thinking go for a risk here with a rookie quarterback, see if he can win games, to really make it to the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is a move that they think will energize the fans, maybe. I mean, there are some teams that change their quarterback, and maybe it's a new style, a new fresh face to the offense, and maybe bring a spark to the team. But in this case, I would never put a playoff team in the hands of Nathan Peterman. Although I have no clue how he's done in the past, but it just seems very odd to me that you would bench a veteran in Tyrod Taylor and put in a rookie when you're so close to making the playoffs. I mean, and they're at a good spot for the wild card.
Yeah, they still have to play the Patriots twice, and you know how rookie quarterbacks do against Belichick and Tom Brady. It just doesn't end up well. So if you have Peterman in for those 2 games, that's going to be 2 losses. And the way your defense is playing, you'll get destroyed. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do in Los Angeles when they play the Chargers.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, the Chargers have one of the best edge rushes in the game with Melvin Ingram and Joey Bosa. So you're going to put a rookie quarterback against Melvin Ingram and Joey Bosa? That's going to be a slaughterfest.
I mean, we'll just have to see. I mean, really, I don't know the guy. I mean, I guess the coaching staff sees something that they didn't see in Tyrod, or they want to give him a shot. Who knows what's going through their head? If anything, it's a big risk, and I guess they're thinking high reward. But I don't know. I never seen him play, so I can't tell you.
Yeah, on to some other quarterbacks that have unachieved. Dak Prescott comes in to face the Falcons and gets sacked how many times? I would say 8 or 9 times.
6 by one player.
6 by Adrian Claiborne.
Amazing.
And one of the things that I want to say is that I went 2-0 once again. It's not a fluke, folks. I'm just a genius at this stuff. I know what I'm doing. I'm a psychic. So don't expect me to lose anytime soon. So I did pick the Falcons to beat the Cowboys. I saw it coming. Cowboys are not good. Dak, I knew we'd see the real Dak in these 6 games that Elliott's going to be suspended. Dak didn't show up at all. I didn't even notice him. He made 0 impact on the team. And also, their 1 touchdown, their only points, they were set up by a interception that went to, the 25-yard line. So they barely had to do any work on offense. So that was just a gimme on offense. But what surprised me was the coaching. Obviously, their left tackle was out for the game, and they had their backup in, and that's where Adrian Claiborne just went off and tore him up at the left tackle position and got 6 sacks. I didn't see any help when I was looking at the videos and the highlights. I saw no help for the left tackle at all. There were no running backs helping him out on the left side. Maybe have Rod Smith or Alfred Morris come block for you on the left side, or even to force Adrian Claiborne to the inside and maybe get the left guard to double team with the left guard or to left tackle to maybe stop Claiborne on the left side, because they weren't really getting a lot of pass rush on the right. So you really could only focus on the left and give Dak some more time in the pocket. But yeah, what are your guys' thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that it was definitely a botch by Jason Garrett. That game should have been a lot closer. They didn't give... Jason Garrett knew the whole week that his left tackle was going to be out. He knew that Ezekiel Elliott was going to be out. And I didn't see any game planning to try to get the run game going. Maybe in the start of the second half, Alfred Morris had a couple 10, 12-yard runs, and then that was it. He had 9 yards rushing in the first half. And he didn't give any help, just putting a tight end or a running back just to chip Claiborne, hit him in the shoulder a little bit, slow him down. No help. No coaching adjustments. And then Sean Lee gets hurt, his hamstring, for the second half. And it seems like to me that every time Sean Lee doesn't play, the Cowboys' defense doesn't play well. And yeah, he is their leader, but the coach at some point has to game plan for that, because that's not new news that Sean Lee's going to get hurt. He's been hurt so many times in the past, and the coach, I think, has to change his game plan or something. Talk to the defensive coordinator, and these games should be closer when they don't have their top guys.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things just watching the whole game go down, and this is an Eagles fan, so it was a good day for me, but just watching how much the Cowboys have relied on Ezekiel Elliott. And it's one thing to say that, but actually seeing them without it, and what you were saying, John, they really didn't seem prepared for what was eventually going to probably come. They knew this from week 1 almost, to have a backup in place outside of just relying on Alfred Morris in the backs. And you saw that I don't think Dak Prescott's a terrible quarterback, but he's a good quarterback in that he's conservative and that he takes safe, short passes, and combined with a run game that's consistent and gets you momentum, that's how the Cowboys have been winning games with a balanced defense. And now they lost Sean Lee and some of their other parts, but it showed that without that run game, that they relied on it so much. I don't see them being able to win a lot more games coming up with Ezekiel's suspension going forward.
Yeah, and just to point out, last week, Jonathan said that all 3 running backs, Morris, Rod Smith, and McFadden, combined for over 100 yards against the Falcons, and they combined for 65 yards. Too bad he isn't here to say that he was incorrect and that Dak Prescott didn't even get 200 yards passing or a touchdown. So,
yeah, one of the things that stood out to me, I know Sean Lee is injured, and I know he helps you tremendous. He's the leader of that defense, without a doubt. Pro Bowl middle linebacker. And what's surprising to me is they literally blame everything on Sean Lee, meaning they'll say, oh, well, our defense was bad because Sean Lee wasn't there. Well, Sean Lee doesn't help you with pass protection as much as all your cornerbacks and your safeties. So how come Matt Ryan throws 2 touchdowns, 215 yards? I mean, Sean Lee wouldn't have prevented that at all. He would have stopped the run game, but he would have not had the amount of impact on the passing game at all if he was there. So I think it would have been the same result if Sean Lee was there.
our third topic, we're going to talk about the 3 matchups this upcoming week that are going to be pretty close. The first one we should talk about is the Vikings at home against the Rams. The Vikings early this week said that Case Keenum will start, and Bridgewater will back him up. What do you guys think on that game? Who do you like?
You want to go?
Yeah, I'll go. I mean, it's going to be an important game for both teams, obviously. But I would have to say the Rams. I mean, the Rams are just hot right now offensively. They got some good things going on defense. The Vikings, I think are still a really good team and still have chances for the playoffs. But I just don't see them being as well-rounded and looking as good as the Rams do.
Yeah, the X factor for me is Todd Gurley. The man's just a beast. There's no way around it. He's just a beast.
You just like him because he's on your fantasy team.
He gives me
make a real decision.
He gives me 30 points every week. The man is.
He gets all his points in like garbage time. They just give him the ball and
he's
runs
consistent.
over people.
He's top 5 in rushing touchdowns. He's top 5 in rushing yards. He is an elite running back. He will lead this team, and especially if he does not have a great day, Goff is really starting to heat up. He's going to be the leader of this offense in case, Gurley, maybe only gets 100 yards this game, and Goff has to actually try.
Yeah.
But I don't really like Keenum with the Vikings this late going into a playoff run because I don't think he's ever done that before. I think a lot of pressure is going to be on Keenum, especially now that Bridgewater's healthy. They could be quick to bring Bridgewater in at any time if he makes a mistake. But I like the Rams in this pick.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with the other two. I'm going to have to take the Rams just because beating the Giants, beating the Texans, yeah, they are 2 bad teams, but they're just clicking right now. And Keenum coming off a big game, I don't see him having another one of those big games. All right, so the next matchup this week is on Monday night, Falcons against the Seahawks. That's going to be a good one. What do you guys think?
That one, I really don't know. I mean, it's a really important game
That's
for
tough.
both of these teams. I mean, I think they're in different divisions, right?
Yeah.
But still, for the wild card and stuff like that, it's really important. And the Falcons are finally starting to look like themselves. I mean, they did play against the injured Cowboys, but honestly, I'd have to say Seahawks just because I feel like they have the more experience going in and being able to seal the deal and stuff like that. But really, it's a toss-up. But I'd have to go with Seahawks with Russell Wilson and the defense and the Legion of Boom.
Yeah, this one's a tough one for me. They're very similar teams. I think we could agree. I expected more from both these teams at this point in the season. I expected Seahawks to be clear number 1 in their division, and Falcons coming off of a Super Bowl appearance to at least be in first place. I think riding off of a Cowboys win, or riding off of a Cowboys defeat from the Falcons, I think they could ride this wave and possibly sneak into a wild card spot and take the wild card spot from the Seahawks. I'm going to go with the Falcons. Matt Ryan's starting to play well, and depending on if Freeman comes back, Coleman surprisingly came in and rushed for a lot of yards against the Cowboys. So they could do, a dual threat running back system with Freeman and Coleman, and that could be very deadly when you got fresh legs constantly during the game. So I'm going to go with the Falcons over the Seahawks.
Okay. I'm going to have to agree with Jared on this one.
Ooh.
Earl Thomas is injured. Cam Chancellor is injured. Richard Sherman is injured.
Those are
the Legion of
fantastic points.
The Legion of Boom is no longer this
They're
year.
there in spirit.
The Seahawks have been solely relying on Russell Wilson. They have no run game. C.J. Prosise just got put on IR. Chris Carson was put on IR a few weeks ago. The Legion of Boom is injured, and the Falcons are rolling, and they're going to go into Seattle and win. All right, so the last matchup this week that's going to be close is that's going to be a little bit of a debate, but let's see, is the Cowboys and Eagles in Dallas. Is this a debate or
Very
no?
interested.
Let's start with the Eagles fan first.
I don't want to jinx it. I'm always afraid to. I mean, I got a lot of Eagles players on my fantasy team. I'm nervous to say it's a shoe, and they got to take it every game at one time.
First, we have to say that last week Caleb won, or no, you lost in fantasy because you put the Eagles defense in, and they were on a bye.
You're so confident.
It was just by 12 points. Had I put AJ Green in as I flex over Gordon, I would have had. But I was willing to take these losses. Week 8 and 9 were my bye weeks for a lot of my players. So see me later in the playoffs for fantasy. But
so you're gonna take the Eagles this week?
I would take the Eagles this week. I mean, they as home team, they got to take it. It's not a shoe-in. Any given Sunday, anything can happen. But it's an important game. I think it's more important for the Cowboys in that if the Cowboys lose this, their chances at anything get extremely slim. But for the Eagles, the Eagles with their record, they can afford a loss. But an Eagles win here would really cement it. And I think with the way the Eagles offense and defense has been looking, as well as some injuries on the Cowboys side and the absence of Ezekiel Elliott, by all logistics, it looks like an easy Eagles win. But they just got to take it one game at a time. But I would say it's the Eagles.
I'm going to go with the Eagles, 45-0.
Oh my gosh. I don't think it's going to be that close.
Be good for fantasy.
No, it's going to be closer than that because last year we saw the Eagles when they came off their bye, they looked a little worse than they did before their bye. So, and the streak they have going, I see them slowing down a little bit. They have some tough matchups. I don't think they're going to lose to the Cowboys, but I think it's going to be within 20 points.
That's what the bye makes it.
The reason I say 45-0 is that the defense won't get an interception and put them at the 25-yard line
for the Cowboys.
So Dak just can't do it. You can't do it without Zeke.
Throw downfield.
You just can't. Without Zeke, he's nothing. And I stand by that. 6 games, first game. Sorry about that. I said the real Dak would come. 6 games when Zeke is out. First game, proved me right. He had 2 turnovers, scored 1 rushing touchdown, no passing. He has shown me no passing abilities without Zeke. Show me Dak, but he's not going to do it. He's not going to do it. He's not going to listen to me.
He's not going to be able to do it.
He's not going to listen to me.
Because the Eagles have the best run defense in the league. So if they only ran for 65 yards against the Falcons, they're not even going to get 30 against the Eagles, which will force Dak to throw it even more.
If I had to put the game into Dak Prescott's hands, I would be very worried. I would have no confidence. Let me say this. I would take Nathan...
What's his name? Peterman?
Nathan Peterman. I would put him in. Maybe sign him up for the Cowboys and maybe try and get a run to the playoffs with Nathan Peterman. He's got all the skills.
Oh my
He's got all the passing abilities. Dak is a better runner than he is a passer.
Are you saying Dak should retire?
Dak, at this point, there's no coming back.
Oh, wow.
There's no coming back from this.
Like, even next year he was going to do bad.
No, I think he should go down as the best starter within 24 games in quarterback history.
Talk about falling off a cliff. He's about to go down.
Talking about falling off a cliff, he's falling off the Empire State Building all the way to retirement. It just right now.
Within 2 years, he's going to be broadcast.
I'm an Eagles fan. I'm not even this.
I feel like he's Robert Griffin III at this point. Oh my! He's got the plays of Johnny Manziel. I just don't see any light at the end of the tunnel.
It's a tough week for him. I obviously like any factor that goes the Eagles' way, and any given Sunday is still true. But it would have been interesting with Ezekiel Elliott and the Eagles' run defense being the best in the league, how the Cowboys would have been able to do without Zeke, and now we saw in the Falcons how they were able to do. So seeing what the Falcons with their defense, with their secondary and and Adrian Claiborne. Comparing that to the Eagles, you can only assume that the Eagles are going to really tear it up.
Yeah, let's not forget that Dan Quinn used to be a defensive coordinator, so they could really start to get the defense up and running. I'm just going to say, Dak, you got to show me something these next 6 games, man. Come on.
Sure is really worried about how you feel about it.
All right, so now our 4th topic, we're going to play a little game. Me and Jared have prepared a player A versus player B. We're going to show some stats on each player, and we're going to choose which player we would rather have on our team and see who they really are after uncovering what's behind their stats. So I'm going to start it off. I have player A here and player B. So player A, this is quarterbacks. So player A has a completion percentage this season of 69%, 2,242 yards, 14 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 93.7 passer rating, and 31 20-plus yard plays. Now player B has a lower completion percentage at 62%, 10 yards less passing at 2,232, same amount of touchdowns, 14, but 3 more interceptions at 11, and a 10.7 less passer rating at 83, and only 29 20-plus yard plays. So who would you guys rather have this year?
It looks like to me between the passer rating, which is tremendous, it's 10 points higher than player B. Player A has 10 points more passer rating, and he's got 3 less interceptions. So I like that. I like that a lot. I would pick player A. Caleb?
I mean, it's really interesting to put the game of football just into statistics, which is part of the game here. I guess, statistically speaking, I don't know how you say B is better than A. My only specific question would be with the 20-plus yard plays on player B. He has 2 less than player A. But exactly how much deeper, because sometimes the more interceptions shows the quarterback's more willing to take risks and throw it downfield. So maybe, what are the 40-plus? What are the deeper passes? But that aside, statistically speaking, it's just A. But I'm curious who these people are.
I am so curious.
Yeah, it's so interesting how a player's stats could be better, but then it's so crazy. Like behind the stats could be a better leader for your team.
Right.
So these are 2 quarterbacks. Player A, who you guys both picked, was Josh McCown.
Oh God,
of the New York Jets.
I love him though. I like him.
And
the
player
Jets.
B is Cam Newton.
Oh, wow.
So
that makes sense,
after
though.
looking at this, still you still have to say that McCown's having a better year, but the Panthers have a better record, and Newton has been playing well lately.
Plus part of the game is that we're only looking at 5 statistics of a whole quarterback, so not even relating to passing. So
Cam's rushing is so impactful in his game.
Yeah,
he has the most rushing yards this year. I think Dak has more touchdowns, but that's it's part of the game is the statistics. So wow, it really puts into perspective passing wise.
All right, so now Jared's gonna do his player A and player B.
Alrighty, folks. I know you're on the edge of your seat for this one. We got player A. 420 rushing yards, 4 touchdowns, 4 yards per carry, and 2 rushes over 20 yards. Now keep that in mind. Now we're going to player B. Player B has more rushing yards, same amount of touchdowns at 4, 5.9 yards per carry. That's 1.9 more than player A, and 3 rushes over 20 yards compared to players A, which is 2. So, gentlemen, we have player A and player B.
So player B has 16 more yards with 436. Right?
Yep.
But then, biggest difference is the +1 rushes over 20 yards, and then 5.9 yards per carry.
Yeah.
So,
what's more important to you in
honestly,
a rushing
honestly,
running back?
more important to me in a running back is yards per carry. How
You
many
like that,
times
don't
I like the 1.9 yards better. When I give a player the ball, is he going to get 6 yards or 4? If it's 3rd and 5, we need 6 yards or we need 4. So that's what really sticks out to me in this. It'll be interesting. I would love to see what their receiving stats are. I feel like one of these players, whichever one's better, maybe A. I don't know what you were going at here, but maybe A has really good receiving stats. And they're better than B. I don't know, but from looking at this, I would have to go with player B because I don't really know what other attributes player A has. So I'm gonna have to go with player B at almost 6 yards a carry.
Player B is your running back. Okay, Caleb, you said.
Everything what John said. My only statistical question would be if player B with the one had another 1 plus rushes over 20 than player A, if that would inflate the yards per carry, or because it comes yards per carry comes on how much they're used or how consistent they are. I mean, I totally agree in principle. Like you want the more yards per carry, of course. It's part of the game. You only get 4 pieces of statistics. Just to shake it up a bit, I'll go player A.
Player A, you'll pick player A as your starting running back.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Player A with less rushing yards and less yards per carry and less rushes over 20 yards is Mr. DeMarco Murray of the Tennessee Titans.
Wow.
No, it's not.
Player A is.
He only has 420 rushing yards?
Isn't that surprising?
Huh.
The starting running back for the Tennessee Titans has 420 rushing yards.
Who's player B? Don't leave us in suspense.
Player B. Cam Newton.
Oh my god.
A freaking quarterback has more rushing yards than a starting running back.
Man, you should change fantasy so you can get Cam Newton.
As a running back. Yeah. No, that was interesting, but I think definitely at looking player A, I think DeMarco Murray obviously has better receiving stats than Cam Newton. But
yes,
interesting.
But I know that DeMarco Murray's 29 years old and he's missed a couple games. But that is interesting considering how much the Tennessee Titans use DeMarco Murray. They use him a lot, but Cam Newton does run the ball a lot too.
And it's weird to say, but I mean the Titans are a good team this year. It's been a long time since you've been able to say that. And I mean it's I guess it came into what I was saying with how often they were used. I mean still Cam Newton shows how much of an athletic beast the dude is. He's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I picked these two mainly because I saw DeMarco Murray so low with rushing yards, even rushing touchdowns. 4 is not a lot for a starter. And they really don't split between Derrick Henry as much as I thought.
Yeah.
Because Henry only has like 200 rushing yards, if that. So they really rely on DeMarco Murray. And as a playoff team for Tennessee, I would have thought that his running game would be more impactful. I thought that would be the difference. But actually, this could be DeMarco Murray's worst year that he's had so far out of all of his years. Mm-hmm. I don't know what the problem is. Maybe it's the offensive line, but who knows?
Okay, so now I'll introduce my Team A versus Team B. So I'm going to propose the question, which team do you think has the better record, Team A or Team B? So I based this off of defensive stats. So Team A has given up 18 points per game, third best in the league. They've given up basically 2,900 yards, 14th in the league. Passing yards, they rank 8th. Rushing yards, 22nd. Interceptions, 2nd. Fumble recoveries, 3rd. Total takeaways, 1st. And sacks, 5th. Now Team B, points per game, they're 1st at 14.9. Yards total, 2nd in the league. Passing yards, 1st. Rushing yards, they're a little worse than Team A at 23rd. Interceptions, they're a little worse at 11. They're 3rd in the league. Fumble recoveries, the same. They're tied for 3rd. And then total takeaways, they're a little worse than Team A at 2nd, but they have the most sacks in the league. So which team do you guys think has the better record this year based on these defensive stats? And which one of these stats is most important to you?
I like sacks. I like a lot of sacks. Take that what you will. First in sacks and first in passing yards. That means they've given up the least passing yards, correct?
Passing yards.
So I like that a lot because if you can stop,
but their rush defense is bottom 10 in the league.
That's okay. The big plays are passing yards. So I like usually when you see a team that's first in passing yards, usually means that they don't let up a lot of big plays, and that's a big momentum killer for teams. So I really like that a lot. And they give up the least amount of points per game, which is very impressive. And they're 2nd in total yards. Team B has everything that I want. I'm going to pick Team B.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's so many factors go into what a better record is. But, I mean, for me, one of the most important things is the rushing yards. I mean, of course, I would say pass yards allowed and rush yards allowed are the biggest. But I, too, a sack can like change the momentum of a game. That being said, I guess by all logistical standards, I'd say Team B because of first in sacks and first in pass yards.
Okay. So Jared thinks he knows who Team B is. What do you think the Team B is?
I think Team B is the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I think Team A is the New Orleans Saints. So Team A has the better record.
But you would still go with Team B.
I would pick Team B as my defense every day.
Okay, so let me enlighten you guys. Team B is the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Let's go! Let's go!
Team A has almost the opposite record. They're the Los Angeles Rams.
What?
Wow.
And the Rams are 7-2, and the Jaguars are basically at 500 or just above 500.
Yeah.
And just looking at the Rams stats, the defensive stats, that tells you how good their offense is doing.
Well,
like the takeaways, yeah, but like rush yards, pass yards, like their offense is really doing well.
I think it goes to show too, like, of course we're only looking at a piece of the puzzle, but it shows how well-rounded the Rams are. Like they don't have to have the best defense in order to win games. Like, what you're saying with the offense and stuff like that. That's crazy.
Okay. I like those two teams. My two teams. I have Team A, Team B. Oh wait, these are right. Okay, thought I had a fumble there. All right, Team A. They are third in passing yards.
This is on offense?
Yeah, these are offensive stats. Third in passing yards, 10th in passing touchdowns, 10th in sacks given up, meaning they're the 10th least, and 14th in the total offense. So all those stats I just named, they're all in the top 15. Now, Team B is 28th in passing yards, last in passing touchdowns, 16th in sacks given up, and 22nd in total offense. So every stat that I just named, Team B has a worse rating than Team A. All right, boys. Gander at that.
I feel like there's a catch, but by all standards, Team A, of course.
Team A.
Yeah.
You like those stats.
I do.
Team A definitely does look better. Can I take a guess on who Team B is?
Team B, yeah.
Okay.
Team B, I'm going to say, is the Buffalo Bills. And Team A, I'm probably going to have to go with third in passing yards. Let's see. I would have to go with maybe like the Kansas City Chiefs on that one. Let's see what do you
want to take any guesses, Caleb?
I have no idea.
No guesses. So you would take Team A, right?
Yeah.
Team A too.
Okay. Which team you think has a better record?
I think Team A has a better record.
Right, because they have better stats,
yeah,
right?
Better
Wrong. Wrong. Let's look at Team A. Team A is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Wow.
With Jameis Winston and Ryan Fitzpatrick combining for third passing yards overall. Yeah, I thought that was very surprising. What are your thoughts that it's Tampa Bay?
That's surprising.
Yeah.
That shows how bad their defense is if they're losing that many games.
Yeah, I mean they are. They're last in their division. They're 3-6. So.
And their offense has third most passing yards. That's like horrible defense.
But even total offense is top 15.
Top half of the league.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, now for Team B, the Tennessee Titans.
No way. They're last in passing
touchdowns, 28th in passing yards, 22nd in total offense. Just let that sink in.
Their defense isn't even that good.
Well, we saw DeMarco Murray stats. So,
right.
Where are the touchdowns coming from?
Well,
Mariota must be rushing and
exactly.
Murray must be catching.
I said this in the last podcast. I don't like Mariota as an NFL quarterback.
He just beat the Bengals.
He doesn't show the...
And your reason last week that the Tennessee Titans won't make the playoffs is because you don't like Marcus Mariota.
Yeah, I stand by that. These stats...
Just because you don't like him.
Could you imagine if they had a mediocre passing game They'd be winning every single game with their defense.
Their defense isn't even that good.
Apparently it's winning games.
57 points to the Texans.
Oh, it's one game. It was Deshaun Watson. So you can't say that. Deshaun Watson's could have been rookie of the year.
The Bengals didn't even let Deshaun Watson throw a touchdown pass.
That's a different situation. I'm not talking about the Bengals.
I'm talking about Deshaun Watson.
Well, I'm not talking about him anymore. I'm talking about the Tennessee Titans and how they have a horrible passing touchdown and passing offense and passing yards.
So you think that they should upgrade their offense? And what should they do to upgrade their offense?
Me picking these two teams, showing how bad the Titans are at passing, was just to enlighten you folks on Marcus Mariota. Marcus Mariota just pulling the wool over your eyes and saying, I'm an NFL quarterback, when really he just rushes for all the freaking time and gets all these touchdowns and no passing touchdowns because they're last in the NFL.
So you don't like rushing quarterbacks?
No, they don't last. If I was a team, I would stay away from that. I would stay away from that because they're so injury prone. Michael Vick was good, yeah. Okay, that's one. But look at Robert Griffin III, Johnny Manziel. Russell Wilson's doing okay, but he's limited his rushing. So if you can get Mariota to limit his rushing and maybe pass more, get him to maybe get some passing skills, I would be all for that. But right now, I just wanted to show you guys the real Marcus Mariota.
Okay, interesting. So now we're going to go to our last segment, the lock and upset. All right, so I'll start it off. My lock is going to be the Saints over the Redskins at home. The Saints are on a 7-game win streak. They play better at home. Their defense is playing well. They had 6 rushing touchdowns as a team last week, and you never hear that their defense is playing well and they're rushing a lot. So that just Drew Brees opens up more space for Brees to throw. So I'm going to take the Saints in my lock. And then in my upset, I'm going to take the Atlanta Falcons in Seattle on Monday night to beat the Legion of Boom, which is injured, and the Russell Wilson, who doesn't have a run game, and he's going to have to do it all himself. So I have the Falcons in my upset and the Saints in my lock.
Okay, for my lock, I have the Eagles over the Cowboys. I don't really need to say more. It's the Eagles.
It's 45-0.
And it's the Cowboys.
Jinx it.
I'll predict the score 45-0. I don't care. These aren't really predictions at this point. These are just facts.
We're not predicting anything.
Yeah, I'm just telling you what to expect on Sunday.
Given Sunday, Eagles gotta focus.
So Eagles over Cowboys, my lock, and then my upset is Tom Savage and the Tennessee. Oh, whoa, wow.
Restart.
Sorry about that. The Texas. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Do you want me to go?
Take a breath.
Caleb, go. I think I'm having like freaking stroke or something.
I'll be short and sweet. I'm gonna pick the as my upset Titans over the Steelers. I mean, it's just I don't think it's out of their reach, and I think on any given Sunday, I'm gonna pick it Titans over the Steelers.
They're playing on Thursday.
Any given Thursday.
That's a good one. Any given Thursday.
And your lock?
My lock would be Jaguars over the Browns.
Okay. Everybody picks the Browns. Okay, I've recovered from my stroke. I'm going to pick the Houston Texans over the Arizona Cardinals. Tom Savage playing well. I like what he's doing. They always got a weapon in DeAndre Hopkins. He's got the most receiving touchdowns by a wide receiver. So I'm going to pick the Houston Texans over the Arizona Cardinals. All right, folks, that does it for our 4th Dorm Debate podcast, guys. Does it feel like the 4th? Does it feel like the 4th?
It does feel like the 4th.
It feels more than 3.
Well, that would be 4.
And less than 5.
So my math is correct.
Yeah. All right, thank you guys so much for listening. If you liked it, please leave a like down below. Share with your friends. Grow this podcast. We will be back at the same time on Thursday. Thank you guys, and we will catch you in the next one.